And welcome back to Late Night Show. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the late night show program for the website, cpluscomedy.com. I just hit the website. Go there. Welcome back in. Here we are, late in the afternoon on Friday afternoon. I'm recording this episode, and it's going so well so far. I'm not slurring my words. I'm not trying to rush through it so I can get to the pool because it's hot outside and I just hopped off the bike. Jesus Christ, it's 89 degrees? It's going to be. Look, on Christmas, I was wearing shorts. That's how warm it was. So, I'm just saying that. I don't care if it's beautiful outside. It's going to be hot this summer. Anyway, I just hopped off the bike. I'm trying to get to the pool. Just want to take a nap by the pool. That's it. So let's get through it. Episode 65. This weekend late night. Everybody was back. It was a packed weekend late night. I will say this: we are just a couple of weeks away from. We might even be like a week. I don't remember when After Midnight is ending, but After Midnight is coming to an end. We know that much is certain. And these last couple of weeks, these last couple of episodes, have really felt like they are winding down. I just feel as though, if Taylor, I'm fine with her leaving because she wants to do stand-up. She wants to tour. And that's always going to be her first love. I feel as though they could have tried. CBS could have tried and made let the show go off for the rest of the summer. Just have Colbert anchor the late night hour for that time period, and then come back fresh as a daisy with the same show with a new host. I would have done it. I'd go to LA, shoot this show. I'd be happy too. You kidding me? Low stakes because of the views. Anyway, I only bring that up because now they're having their writers on. They've had people that they've had on multiple times on as well, including Maria Bamford. The show's coming to an end, and it's just feeling like it. And with that in mind, I'm asking myself, why should I be watching? If I know that they are just going to the end of this, which is fine. I tune in every so often, but these last couple of weeks I've just been, meandering here and there. Anyway, on Late Show, Colbert had the wonderful, beautiful, gorgeous Jacinda Arden, and then some other people. Truly, I only watched for that Jacinda Arden interview. Oh, she's so pretty. And Kristen Milotti was there too. Mark Hamill, Tony Gilroy, and Cynthia Erivo, who's going to be hosting the Tonys. And she also performed a song from her album. And then, of course, we had on tonight's show with Jimmy Fallon, as is customary, he promoted the new Nintendo console that is out as of this recording. The Nintendo Switch 2. It's great to see. He kept saying, "I like Jimmy," so I say this in a playful manner. He kept saying, "I'm a geek for this. I'm a geek for this." Jimmy, we know you play video games. We know you're excited. Let's just calm down. It's also very interesting. I'm in the middle. I'm almost done. Actually, I have just a couple of more pages of the Lorne Michaels autobiography by Susan Morrison, or is it the biography? Biography by Susan Morrison, and it's excellent. I would say though that I knew roughly 60% of it, especially. I just finished the part where they arrived in the Trump years of the show, and boy, oh boy, if you didn't think I sped past that, I'm just like, come on. I don't want to be reminded of that. But the way she writes the book is it's linear. It's in a linear perspective, telling a tale of two stories. Telling a tale of Lorne Michaels and also and Saturday Night Live. And then also a story of a week of Saturday Night Live, the last time Jonah Hill hosted. So it's telling those two stories parallel, and she's also taking liberties with that timeline by jumping back multiple times, and it works. It works. There's not a point where I was bored or tired or anything. And the parts that I didn't know were very interesting, very fascinating, especially. And I mention it now because it's the thought that Jimmy Fallon was so unsure of himself when he was offered late night and then the Tonight Show. He was just so unsure of it. He's like, no, I don't want to do this. I want to be a movie star, which we knew. We knew he wanted to be a movie star. He really, really wanted that. He's like, I want to be a movie star. And then he in the book there, Susan writes that he was partying too much, and and the movie thing wasn't working out for him. And then he buckled down and did the late night and Tonight Show, and they also covered the Conan stuff. It's amazing. She also writes, and Lauren sort of admits that he is a bit of a coward, and he doesn't, and that's why he's never approaching people and telling them that they're hired or they're fired or whatever. It's a good book, and if you like SNL, if you like late night at all, you should just definitely check it out. Anyways, move on. Jimmy was able to play the Nintendo Switch 2, and Annie Murphy was there for some reason. Miley Cyrus is in that episode as well. Benson Boone, Turnstile, whose new album is fantastic. I listened to it this morning. Alongside the Carter Six, which has its ups and downs. Brianne Howery, Tyler Perry, Taraji B. Henson, Matt Berringer, Jonathan Groff, my lovely Dakota Johnson. I have such a big crush on her. And Sydney Sweeney was there last night, and Liz Glazer, who did stand-up, and then Andrew Reynolds and Nick Kroll. I can close these down. Oh, I have so many of these tabs open. Questlove, the lovely Dakota Johnson, Stephen Graham, Benicio del Toro, Maria Riva, Ben Wang, Shane Gillis, and Stephen Gerber, and George Clooney and Jennifer Simrod and Christopher Sieber were all at Late Night with Seth Meyers. We had Amber Ruffin come back and do her Amber Says What segment alongside a couple of closer looks. Is that what they're called? In the interim, while Seth was off, they released some audience Q&As, which I'm sure every late night host does. The audience Q&As. I know Kimmel does it because you can see it in the middle of when they go to commercial. Like there's a monologue. You can see that they have in the corner. During the commercials, they play videos of him getting questions asked, and you can't hear anything, but they eventually release some of them online. Are they worth watching? Depends on you. Depends on you. Speaking of Kimmel, he had Maria the Scientist, Owen Wilson, Brett Goldstein, Tom Hiddleston, Jenny Slate, Atsuko Okasuka, Garbage, Don Johnson, the father to Dakota Johnson, Draymond Green, Tyler Dolla $ign, and Seth MacFarlane, all on the program this week. Owen Wilson was there promoting that show Stick on Apple TV Plus. I was a week behind on Your Friends and Neighbors, starring John Hamm on Apple TV Plus. So last night I turned on the last episode and I watched it, and then as I'm exiting the app, I see Stick, and I knew the show was coming. I knew the show existed. I like Owen Wilson a lot. And I go, let me go see who's on that show. Not one person of color. So I can't watch it. I can't watch it at all. Last week tonight, John Oliver covered air traffic control. When I sat down and watched this episode on Max, I thought, on HBO Max, excuse me, my first thought was, did they do this because of Nathan Fielder's season 2 of The Rehearsal? Did they do it because of that show covering it, so it'd be fresh in everybody's minds? Or were they already planning on doing this episode and it just happened to coincide with the finale of that show? I obviously they were planning on doing the episode, period, but at what point in their timeline were they going to do it? Gotta find something for these goddamn cables. On The Daily Show, Jon Stewart covered Elon Musk and Trump's beginning, the start of their feud, I guess. And then we had Michael Costa come in and do the show for the rest of the week. Interviews included Carol Cadwalader, who spoke to Stewart, and then Costa. I keep wanting to say Klepper because I'm about to mention Jordan. But Costa spoke to Candace Parker, Leah Littman, and Jonathan Cohen. We also had Lewis Black come in, and Klepper was featured in a couple of pieces this week as well. And John Mulaney's show is over for the time being, so we don't have any more of that. But the last couple episodes were fantastic while everybody else was off. They were fantastic, and they came out the same way they came on. It was just kind of, even though he did fight 3 children, he fought 3 kids. He fought 3 teenagers. It was great. But it went out the same way it came in, on a high, ended on a high. It wasn't the Friends finale where it was setting up these big expectations. The show just ended and it was fantastic. Now, let's get on to this main story. I'm going to move off of this. I don't know what's going on with these cables. The Hollywood Reporter, Lexi Perez, writes, John Mulaney explains why he declined to offer the 2024 Oscars. Now, John Mulaney appeared on Mark Maron's WTF podcast, which is also announced to be ending this week. Maron said it's ending in the fall to coincide with the 16th anniversary. But on that episode, they spoke about 2 things that were very important to this show. Hosting the Oscars and also Mulaney's late night show that had just ended. And Maron asked him how that went. Now, on speaking about the show, the Oscars rather, Mulaney said, "Well, I was very flattered. They came to me, must have been last summer, and I knew Jimmy Kimmel wasn't going to do it, and they offered it." He began, and it was honestly that I had a lot going on, and it's months and months of work. And yes, it is. It's a lot of time to get the show prepped. Eventually, they asked Conan O'Brien, I think sometime in the fall or in the winter, and then it might have been in the winter. They definitely asked him late in the timeline. After Kimmel said no, and then Conan O'Brien was eventually asked, and then Mulaney said he came out and he not only was so funny, but he elevated the show to the point that I almost convinced myself I had seen these movies and I'd seen not a one of them. Conan did do an excellent job. We will note that Mulaney did host, I believe, I'm in the wrong thing. What award show did Mulaney host? It was like the Gotham Awards or something like that. We'll see. The Governor's Awards. That's right. Which and it was kind of a preamble to the Oscars. It happened slightly before. Now, Mulaney spoke about his show Everybody's Live with John Mulaney on Netflix, and he said there was a plan to do more. And the way that he's speaking about it should make viewers feel a little uneasy, because the excellent show seemed like he enjoyed it, and it seemed like it wasn't too much work where it was substantial on him in the way that the Oscars would have been so much work. But the fact that he says there was a plan to do more, when in fact we know that Netflix renewed the show picked up the show for 24 episodes, 12 episodes, and another 12 episodes. But yeah, this is a little bit concerning. Mulaney said that they're also figuring it out. And though, quote, it's been very enjoyable, he also noted that he has, quote, really felt the 12 weeks in a row of doing the show. And he's correct. It's 12 weeks of it's late night is such a condensed format. Like SNL, they get 1 episode a week, and for reasons that you'll find out in the book, Lorne is the mainstay of it is Lorne is a creature of habit, and they started the show. A big part of it is they started doing that stuff like the late night writing so early on in the show's conception that it just stuck, and he just wants to keep it like that. And there's other factors that are a part of it, but it all boils down to that. Just read the book; it's a good book. Anyway, but it takes them so much time and effort to put on a live show on Saturday nights. In the same way, for Mulaney and for John Oliver and for Jon Stewart. And shows of that ilk where they do one episode, they're working all week, Monday to Friday, or I think in the case of Oliver, they might have Monday off, probably Tuesday to Saturday, because I think they shoot on Saturdays. There's one point I thought they shot on Sundays, but I wasn't entirely sure. So but you have all this time to put something together, and it's still tough. Now imagine doing that on a daily basis for what used to be 5 days a week, coming up with fresh jokes for a monologue, coming up with guests to sit down with, desk bits, things like that, all to fill out 42 minutes. It's a tough gig. And that's why somebody like Taylor Tomlinson, who was a touring stand-up before this, might not want to feel the heaviness of having to do the daily jokes over and over and over again on that daily grind. For somebody like Mulaney, who is out there doing stand-up or working on TV shows, this probably was something that was a little bit more strenuous on him as well. He said we would scale back what we were doing if we were doing it every day, which is true. And I don't know if Netflix floated that idea of doing it every day. They should not do it every single day. And in fact, we saw them do it, out of 5 days, out of 6 days, I think they did it like 3 days in a row when it was Everybody's Live in LA for the Netflix comedy special or festival, or whatever that was. But when that initially happened, they did like 3 episodes, and then they skipped Saturday and they did Sunday, Monday, something like that. But it was it's tough. It's tough. It's one thing to do it on a weekly basis, but to put together an episode of The Tonight Show or Late Night or Jimmy Kimmel Live is just you'll understand why if you watch Late Night every single day like I do, mostly. There's time I don't watch every single Colbert episode or every single Kimmel episode, but you'll see why they repeat bits and jokes and styles of jokes, not jokes, but styles of jokes. Mulaney said when describing the talk show, it was an, quote, evergreen, weird, not quite any era talk show that is also trying to be a variety show in some ways. It was more than just that we got to try a lot of bits and jokes and have guests on, he said. We got to try whole episodes where it felt very shoestring and episodes where we were blowing it out production-wise. I like the idea that their show can live on at any point. There was, with the exception of quick asides in his monologues or little tiny references here and there to what is happening in today's current time and modern day. It really felt like that show was in its own little time capsule because they had that 70s inspired set, and everything just kind of lived in its own world. I enjoyed it. I loved it. I watched every single episode, and I'd do it again. Mulaney has previously called the talk show a really fun experiment. So he just seems a little bit, is it bullish? No, opposite of bullish. He seems sheepish about it right now. Tandit, he says, it's one of those shows that neither Netflix nor I really needed to do. He said at the time, before the show, I never wanted to host a talk show when they were getting out of the talk show game. It was the perfect moment to do this. And to speak on the show being shoestring or blowing it out production-wise, I don't think a show really needs to be a late night show, really needs to be something that has to be blown out production wise. I want people to get paid. I think that's very important. But also, I don't think that this show needs to be something, or any late night show needs to be something that has to yell to keep somebody's attention. But I'm somebody who doesn't like to go on YouTube and watch a Switch 2 review where somebody's doing 17 edits and screaming at the camera and using buzzwords all the time. That's not something that works for me. I understand for other people, they love that. But I don't want to watch a TikTok of somebody making a recipe and then cutting 77 times in a 2-minute video and then taking a bite and looking at the camera at that. I hate that. It's disgusting. And you know, when they choose a topic, when they talk about dinosaurs, when they talk about different things, fighting teenage boys or getting in a fight, period, it works. It works. And they could just have discussions and panels about that. The Graham Norton show doesn't have as many distractions as the American shows have. So why can't we have something like, you might see the TV flashing in the background. I'm watching the French Open. Trying to see Djokovic get knocked out. Come on, Judah. Oh my gosh. But I think the show can exist. If they do it 6 weeks at a time and take a couple of breaks and then do 6 more episodes, then that's fine too. It's Netflix. People are going to watch regardless. Anyway, that's all I have for you on this. If you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see me talk to famous people sometimes. If you want to see me talk to famous people on YouTube, to go to youtube.com/cpluscomedy, where you can see videos of me talking to famous people under the interviews. You can also see a video version of this show, as well as a video version of the other podcasts, The Constitutionals, the Entertainment Business News Podcast, and LinkedIn Logs, the Jobs Podcast. Subscribe to those shows wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on social media, TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky, at C Plus Comedy, me at Chap Like White. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.